It is Matt Burton. Not an Indigenous man, but proud to wear the headgear painted today with the Indigenous colours as the Bulldogs get us underway. The Dragons will work it away from inside their own 20. The sun shining, the grass is green. It's the Dragons and the Dogs as Jack Bird takes a carry. Forwards again today on that left edge for Anthony Griffin with Ramon once more partnering Ben Hunt. Here is Molo, who will play it just 20 short of the halfway line. Great atmosphere to kick off this one, as you would expect. Tarek Sims taking it forward to Vaughan and Burton. Around the legs there. Jeremy Marshall-King as well for the Dogs. On left-hand side set here to Bellin. Through the hands of Hunt. Comes wider still to Surley. The Dogs' line speed good in this opening set, and they stop Surley. His own side of halfway. Goes back to Hunt. But a spiral kick, an awkward one to handle for the back three in this first half. Backing away. Duffy couldn't see the ball. It lands for the Dragons. Ramsey puts a second kick in. Coming up with it, Mac King has possession for the Bulldogs. It's going to be awkward for the Bulldogs, especially in this first half block, are looking into the sun.
Yeah, and the other reason too, that kick just came up high and against the wind too, the breeze. Both sides allowed the ball to bounce. And a good set opening defensive-wise by the Bulldogs. They really limited their yardage coming off their own line. Didn't even get over the halfway line.
Max King over the top. Marshall King, the right-hand side. They're just 40 metres out here, running towards the train line end. As the all stations to Liverpool rumbles past, right on cue. The Dogs, first chance at attack here, as Burton puts it in the air. Maybe too deep here. Ramsey going back will take a catch in the in-goal area. A pretty simple one as well. And they'll get 7 tackles from their own 20 as we go downstairs to Matt Russell.
Good afternoon, Warren. Blocker. Not often does a sellout actually fit the bill, but this one certainly does. A full grandstand behind me, a chock-a-block crowd on the hill in front of me. And when it comes to the weather, the pictures show what a beautiful day it is in Sydney. There's an erratic wind swirling around Belmore, and a tactic for the Dragons in this first half must be to pump it high in the air, because the Bulldogs' catchers are staring straight into the sun at the northern end of this ground. It will take some catching the ball in this wind, and with the sun making life difficult for the back 3/5 at the Dogs.
2:03 heads to central. The Dragons head left to Bella. Takes it through the middle there. Flat pass. No more than that, said the referee. The locals disagreed. As I'll play it here through Laurie. Goes from Vine, then Ramsey down this left-hand side. We heard from Anthony Griffin in our pre-game show. Andrew McCulloch, and he's come back today from the thumb injury. Won't get any game time, barring injury, in the first half. A kick from Hunt comes across, a scramble here. It falls eventually back to Adokar. The call is a knock-on against the Dragons, but it was in the field of play, so it'll be a changeover at the Bulldogs 10.
Gee, that was a perfectly weighted and placed kick there by the halfback Ben Hunt. No real pressure put on him. It's only the second set that the Dragons have had an age to put that kick up.
Captain's challenge.
Through. We know how good he is in the air too. Zach Lomax. And he knocks the ball on first.
And we have got a captain's challenge here. Let's take a look at this again in the contest. Zach Lomax.
Leaders on side. Just looking for a knock-on here from Zach Lomax.
Aerial specialist. Did he get a touch there with the right forearm before the ball bounced away from Aaron Shop? Maybe just off that right arm of Lomax with the first touch. That's what the referee saw live.
Yeah, I think he's knocked the ball on into Shop, who was competing for the footy there. I think it's a knock on to the Dragons.
At this stage, it's backwards off the Bulldogs.
Certainly knocked on there.
Now just looking to determine if there's a knock-on off Tarek Sims.
Well, if it was knocked backwards by the Bulldogs
Tarek Sims then knocks the ball on.
Lomax certainly knocked it on beyond that, but Sims does. That will remove all doubt. The jury is in, and they say an unsuccessful challenge against the Dragons. What a What an opportunity
Okay, hold there,
to
Josh.
challenge so early in the game and blow your challenge for the rest of it.
Yeah, you lose it on the second set. See, you've got to be 100%
Touch
sure
first. Okay, and then we've got to knock
that
on.
you're going to get the result.
Scrum in the middle. No clock.
Not sure who came up with the idea that maybe, yeah, we'll challenge this one. I think we've a big chance of winning this. Boy, if not one, certainly two knock-ons in that little play. Looked like that way watching it live, and that's the way it turned out as well. So the Bulldogs here, off the back of the double knock-on, will scrum as they feed it through Flanagan. Time back on. A delay to begin the game, and the Dogs to work it away from inside their own 20, searching for their third win of the season here today. They're 2-9. The Dragons are 5-6. Round 12, the midpoint of the season at full time today. Bulldogs push it up towards their own 40. King to play it here. Plays it for Marshall. King comes in this left-hand side. Jackson bouncing off the shoulder there of Moses and By. Slow play the ball as Moan got involved in the tackle as well. Now Burton looking to his right-hand side. Stop there towards the back end of the set. So one more play. Flanagan with the clearing kick. He'll hang here, not a deep one. Ramsey, no pressure on him also because everybody in front of Flanagan was offside for the Bulldogs. And yes,
Max,
they weren't back to 10 either.
It's a bad penalty to give away two inside the 10 metres, right on the 30-metre line. They don't have to battle to get up out of their own half and start this set right on the halfway line. Gee, I'd like to see Burton run the ball a lot more and let Flanagan do all the kicking rather than sitting back on his heels waiting to the last tackle. He got tackled near on the last tackle that time. Flanagan took the kick downfield, but Burton's strength is to run the ball.
Don't let him getting stopped on the last play, given his ability to kick. Ramsey for Surley. Through the tackle there pretty comfortably as well of Avarillo. Now take it inside the Bulldogs 20. 5 minutes gone, no score as yet here at Belmore. Bird comes to Hunt and shows it and gives it off to Moan. Lomax against Aaron Schott. He's a very good defensive centre. Aaron Schott, quite the battle today against Zach Lomax. Comes back here to a Moan. Here's Tarek Sims trying to weave his way inside the Bulldogs 10. They'll hold him up there through Thompson and company. Midway through the set, DeBellin at the line, takes Laurie with him. Still looking for his first try in the NRL. Planted the ball before he was on his feet. Hunt goes out the back. Ramsey with his speed. Can't beat the tackle there of Avarillo. Pat on the back from Jacob Carraz. And now there's a blue back behind the play. They've come from everywhere, red and blue jumpers. And it's sparked up something well behind the play here.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. Might have been one of the Saints players tackled after he passed the ball. It looks like it was Surley that was involved there. Ramsey coming to make the extra man. He had some men on the outside there. That's just the expertise of being a fullback now. You've got to have a look and see the numbers and catch and pass on the outside. They would have near on scored then, the Dragons. Got a little bit of jumper grabbing. You don't really have to worry about blokes bluing now. Here's the replay. They run deep into the line.
Players coming together there on the decoy. Might have been something off the back of that flared things up for a moment. It wouldn't be the Dragons and the Bulldogs here at Belmore. That a little bit of feeling blocker.
Well, there's always got to be a bit of fire when these two rivals play against each other. I'm sure both sides are up to what the history of both these clubs are. There's a little bit of furling there. Mullo with a good tackle there.
He rattled Max King. Now Burton with the clearing kick. It's a beauty as well. Tracking back a long way to get it. DNA will bring it back. He looks up and sees a straight line of Bulldogs chasers. Good kick from Matt Burton, as you would expect. One of the best boots in the business. Surley to carry. Brings it back to the halfway line. There's that shot again. Mola up there, and King was breathing pretty heavily. A couple of moments off the back of that. As the Dragons take it back across the halfway line. By from dummy half goes to Hunt. Out ball there for Surley. They were up in his face. Good work by Jake Avarillo. He knows how powerful this man is, Moses Suli, so he's got to get up there quickly and stop him before he can wind up, and he was right there. I see him come in a hurry. In fact, it was Jacob Carraz who got up and rattled Moses Suli.
Yeah, well, the thing is, when you're playing against a bloke, and you're right, Warren, a bloke like that with that sort of power, you have a look at the first couple of sets they had, they just sort of leaned off him a little bit. This time, put the pressure on. And that's a good tackle, isn't it? Just frees the football, impacts right on as he got the football. It's a good little win there for the Bulldogs.
Block, a fantastic defensive start by Canterbury, and the crowd is assisting that. Every tackle is greeted almost like a try. A huge roar goes around the ground with every statement tackle that comes from the men in blue.
The moment they work it away from their own end as Addo-Carr gets away from dummy half, runs towards Tau Moga. A much travel. Centre and winger to Dale, his right-hand side for the Dragons as the Bulldogs get 6 more tackles here. Set restart from Ben Cummins. The signal goes out to the delight of the Bulldogs faithful. And here is Thompson, just outside the Dragons 40. Comes to Flanagan. He keeps it going wider still. Dufty hands it off. Inspired surely for a big game today against his old club, Matt Dufty. Marshall King comes back to the middle. Flanagan hands it off there for King, who will take it down 25 metres out from the Dragons line. Tackles to play with here. They're deep on this left-hand side. Flanagan at the line. Runs away there from Laurie. Still going. They've got one more play. Marshall King scurries to dummy half. He goes across to Burton, who grubbers. It came off the legs there of Molo. Not played at, so still the last. Burton realises that, puts in a second kick, and looked like Addo-Carr might have been offside. Play on here for the time being. Still there for the Bulldogs. Play on's the call. Marshall King chips it over the top. Was I seeing things, or was Addo-Carr offside there?
Well, I reckon it should have been 6 again. I think one of the Dragons players touched that ball. It was rolling back in field, so no luck going with the Bulldogs at the moment. Would have been all sorts of pressure. They would have been put under the St George Illawarra side had they got the 6 again.
Hang on to work it away from their own end. St George Illawarra. Here is Bird. Right-hand side running towards Flanagan, who did well. Now the Bellin. 10 short of the halfway line. By comes across here. Kick from Hunt. It'll bounce up awkwardly. Dufty will watch a second bounce. Luckily it came straight back to him. Slips over. So he came towards Blake Laurie, and that might have been handy because Laurie had the radar locked on him very squarely. Carraz.
Go back.
Off.
Go back. Right back in front of him. Behind
Towards
Blake.
the train line. He was tackled well before that, though, so he'll come back to play it here. And they'll get going once again. Really cost the Bulldogs a bit of momentum there. The Dragons up in their face as a result. The Dogs almost turn it over. Was there a touch by St George Illawarra? The referee to this point says no. You can hear the reaction from the Dogs fans, and Marshall King jumps out of dummy half. Across here to King. Flanagan looking to his right-hand side. Thompson pours through a hole. Runs towards the tackle there of Ramsey. The fullback did well. Quick play the ball. Flanagan has Vaughan going with him. Up against his old club. He'll play it here just outside the 10. They're flat on his left-hand side. Flanagan back on the inside. Dufty set restarts. 6 more tackles here for the Bulldogs. Burton hands it off. They're stopped just 5 metres out. Thompson with that long break gets another touch. Here's King back his way in. Struck as much by the pad there as the tackle of Ben Hunt. They go to Burton on that right edge. I'll play it eventually. Through Corey Waddell. Burton. Rubbers early. Oh, chance there for Shop. Took a ricochet off the Dragons.
You're well short.
Who've been pinged for being up inside the 10.
Gee, there was some sort of break there by Luke Thompson through the middle of the ruck. Got late footwork at the line. I'll tell you what, he did well to take the tackle too. Didn't try and force the issue or force the pass. Took the tackle. The Saints off their line a little bit too quickly there. Give away the penalty. Gee, they're playing some exciting football, the Bulldogs. Thompson with a great break. He was the man that we mentioned before the game. Really should take on this Dragons pack. What a start from him. And it looks like they'll open the scoring here, the Bulldogs.
50+ metres on 4 carries already for the English front rower. A bit of a polariser amongst the Bulldogs fans. Form can waver at times, but today looks set for a big one as Flanagan did well there coming out of the line. Bird put a bump on the halfback and Thompson was off and running.
Tell you what I did like too, he backed himself against Ramsey, the fullback for the Saints. Tried to take him on. He thought he might steamroll over the top of him. It was a good tackle. And what a start from the Dogs. They were under pressure early. They've had the better of the last 5 minutes.
Early change from the Dragons, gentlemen, with Aaron Woods heading on, Francis Molo heading off. We'll check on the condition of Molo.
Quite a delay here. Matt Burton still without the ball on the kicking tee. Not entirely sure why it's taken so long for this to happen, but we'll get there eventually. And the Bulldogs from close range should be able to begin here with a 2-0 lead. And just a classic, not quite winter's afternoon back at Belmore.
And they had to come out and start well, didn't they? 7 from 7, the Bulldogs. Been a quality game so far. 5 from 6 from the Dragons. They've done well too. Burton with the kick just to the left of the upright.
No problem for Matt Burton, the big off-season signing for the Bulldogs. Looking for a bit of help in attack here today, and so far so good for them. They put some pressure on the Dragons. The Dragons, in the same token, have done well to hang on and limit the Dogs to just the 2 points.
I wonder how many balls they've lost over the years here at Belmore. You see the trains just going past now, but that kick there from Burton is one on the roof now. I wonder who's going to get up and get it.
It's on the, as Mick Potter watches on. I wonder if he's been using that shed at the far end of the ground, which is the Des Hasler wrestling shed from his time here as a coach of the Bulldogs. It all ended in tears, didn't it, back in 2017 for the Bulldogs, and they've been trying to recover pretty much ever since. And there's lights at the end of the tunnel. The caretaker, of course, started his career with the Bulldogs, moved to the Dragons. Mick Potter, I guess, in some ways mixed emotions today, but desperate to see the Bulldogs grab 2 premiership points, as are the old boys who gathered, as I said, up at the Leagues Club yesterday. And some of the players, the current players who were there, walked out in no uncertain terms that this game, this occasion, means a lot more than the average 2 premiership points. Flanagan on to the right-hand side, where Waddell will just work it up towards the halfway line. Good metres for the Bulldogs in this set. The 2-0 lead. Marshall King out of dummy half will find the turf. It'll bounce up there for Ramsey. There's the Molong Marvel. Turns around to bring it back. They'll stop him inside the 20. Good chase there from Flanagan. Some help from Avarillo as well. And the Dragons play it. 15 out from their own line.
Warren, nothing wrong with Francis Molo. Anthony Griffin just doing what he's done over the last couple of weeks and sending Aaron Woods on well inside the 20-minute mark.
There's an early change. You see Molo again towards the back end of the first half, if not the second half, of course, playing again today with younger brother Michael, who made his debut last week against the Warriors. And here is Aaron Woods, all poised for an offload there. Lost a boot in his first carry. Hunt goes to a moan. Burton coming in to wrap up his opposite number. The Dragons on the last have brought it back to the halfway line. Hunt down the short side. Well, lost one again into the sun. An awkward catch here for Dufty. So awkward, he may not have touched it at all. Spins away from Lomax. Brings it back. He's had his moments, hasn't he? Matt Dufty in 2022 in a variety of ways. And we're going to give him some benefit of the doubt there. Very tough one looking up into the sun for the Dogs back 3 in this first half.
He does some magnificent work, doesn't he? Josh Addo-Carr. You'd think about in clear open ground what a runner he is, but gee, he does some tough work at the back end of the field. He's been excellent to start this game. He's run from dummy half, and they get a penalty, the Dogs to boot.
You've got to factor in can't help but think that this crowd is worth a few points to the Bulldogs today. The pressure they'll bring to bear on the referee time and time again, screaming that they're offside.
Not only points, but penalties. Again, they have to work the ball off their own line, the Dogs. Straight away on the attack now.
Josh Adokar fires it in. Aaron shot there, underway again. Vaughan it is, who'll play it here just outside the Dragons 40. Marshall King comes across. Flanagan finds Burton, looks inside, goes outside to Dufty, comes from the inside there, grabbed though by Hunt with Bird and DeBellin. Didn't open up the way they planned it. So they come back to the middle. King under pressure again. Laurie was there. Second big shot on Max King to bring in this game, and he's got to back to his haunches on the back of playing that. Here's a chance. Vaughan for Thompson. Grabbed there by Ramsey. Hangs on. Play on now. Marshall King. No signal from the referee as a 6 again. In fact, this will be the last. To the right-hand side it goes. Burton off the left boot. Perhaps too deep once more. In fact, way too deep. It goes beyond the dead ball line on the full.
Oh, geez, Thompson got onto one of the offloads there. Had he been able to get the ball on the outside, I don't think he even looked. Josh Adokar in free open space. There's the bomb to finish off that set. Far too deep. Easy walk to the 20. And a 7-tackle set for the St George Illawarra side.
Normally astute kicking game, and Matt Burton's a low par to begin this game. Inside the 20 in particular. A couple of easy ones for the Dragons to work it away from their own end with 7 tackles. Asuli playing it, comes back to the middle here. Just work it forward with a carry there from DNA. Now to Belmore. It's Hunt. Goes through the hands there of Ramsey. Lomax runs towards Shop and also Burton. They'll play it 25 metres out. Ramsey. Followed on to Hunt, who Grubbers chasing through. Bird was the man he was looking for. The kick didn't have the angle on it that he was hoping for either. And Dufty it is who brings it away. And the Dogs begin outside their own 20.
Just have a look at the Saints. No offloads so far in this game of footy. What they've got to do, they've got more strike players in their team. Try and play a bit of footy. Don't get caught up in a dogfight with this Doggies team, because they'll suck you into it.
Chancey with tackles up their sleeve, already back in Dragons territory. It goes to Burton off the shoulder there of Jackson. Knocked backwards was the call, so Shop straightens. A bit fortunate there, the Bulldogs. 50-50 call. Marshall King jumps out of dummy half.
He's a good player, isn't he, Marshall King? Underrated. Makes a lot of yards from dummy half when the opposition gets a bit tired.
Burton with a kick again. Will go back to the end goal again. And they just keep doing it. Cannot get the range right here, kicking to this northern end in the first half.
Yeah, a bit bruised behind him in that first half. We've seen it a couple of times already. Hasn't got the radar right yet, Burton. The Saints looking a little bit tired and bunched at the moment. Getting sucked into the Dogs here.
Giving the Dogs, or rather the Dragons, 7 tackles from the 20 metres, but the Dragons still can't get much pressure on the Bulldogs at the other end of the field. Early chance. Most of their captain's challenge and a kick that was dropped by both teams. Here's Woods. He plays it there, and by comes across to Hunt. Ramsey chiming in. Nothing doing once again. Still 3 plays remaining for the Dragons here. Hunt down the short side. Bird, who has a good bump in him, comes to Flanagan. Flanagan did well. Now the pass goes backwards off Carraz, and this will be 6 more for St George Illawarra. Definitely touched by the Bulldogs winger. And here's Hunt inside the 10. Goes behind Moan. Pass before he crossed behind him. Lomax runs towards Shop. Good combination there between Shop and also Burton. Ramsey from dummy half to Moan. Comes back the other way because Laurie was up in front of him. Still going. Talatau Moan only a couple of metres out. Bulldogs fans on edge. The Dragons go deep on the attack. Woods, good hands by Hunt. Up on the inside here for Bird. 6 again is the call from Ben Cummins. So 3 sets in a row, and 2 of them here inside the 20 for the Dogs to try and defend. And by Amone, first man option Sims. Burton did well there. He hung on to Tariq Sims. Pushy's claims for a New South Wales origin spot today also as Ramsey off the back of Hunt. They haven't offered much, have they? And all these tackles here inside the 20. Go past Laurie, comes through the hands. Hunt, cut out ball, coming up quickly. Addo-Carr couldn't shut him down. Moga dives for the corner. The Bulldogs had them covered until Addo-Carr came up and missed. And Tau Moga here today for the Dragons. Scores to put them in front.
Yeah, what a try it is there. As you said, Josh Addo-Carr just trying to shut down the play. As you said, that the Dragons weren't throwing that much at them. The pass over the top from Aaron Woods was a beauty. And then we see, again, the pass there. He's so good at it, isn't he, at offloading the football. Zach Lomax, not a flick out the back this time. More conventional pass. Addo-Carr, you've got to come in and make those tackles. He couldn't do it. Mogo, look at that. Acrobats for the Saints. It's exactly what they needed. They might get going now. There you see Addo-Carr caught in field. You've got to make that tackle. Look at that for a brilliant pass. Shop had to turn around and chase. Mogo leaves the ground now. Look at that for a try.
A career that began all the way back in 2012 with the Sydney Roosters. He's had such rotten luck over the course of that decade with so many severe injuries, of course, all the knee injuries and the ACL reconstructions. I mean, from the Roosters to the Cowboys, Broncos, then the Knights, the Bunnies, of course, in 2021, and now the Dragons. And on debut, scores a try here at famous old Belmore Sports Ground. One to remember, Tau Moga.
And he won't get an easier one than that was. It was a brilliant the way that he left the ground there to score, but you can put it down to Lomax's skills just on the inside of him. It all depends on who's getting you the footy. He can pass the ball too, Lomax. There's a beautifully positioned pass. Moga gets a try.
And the boos ring out for Zach Lomax. Breeze to try and dial in and contend with here this afternoon. Southwest for the most part. It's dragged well across the face of the uprights. It stays at 4 points to 2 wicket and stares to Matt.
Yeah, Tau Moga, you touched on it, Warren. A great story of resilience and persistence. You touched on he's had his 6th club after 4 knee reconstructions. After a booming junior career, he burst onto the scene in 2012, but those 4 knee recos, he has refused to give up on his NRL dream. And at 28, he will hope there are plenty of games still to come, some brighter times for Tau Moga. Just keep your eye on the same side of the ground. Aaron Shop and Zach Lomax having a ding-dong battle as opposing centres. There are words to each other after every tackle. The former Illawarra Rugby League product against the current St George Illawarra centre.
Shop has been good. Addo-Carr came up with a defensive error on that occasion. Came up out of the line, missed. And Moga. You're right, Matt. He was an absolute standout coming through the junior ranks. And when he hit the NRL with the Roosters back in 2012, he thought a star had been born. It's amazing how it can turn out. Here is Ramsey down his right-hand side. Addo-Carr. Shot come together defensively here and almost drag Ramsey into touch. From the sideline, they work it back through Hunt. Finds Aaron Woods. Played here just outside the 40. For a heartbeat, Aaron Woods was a Bulldog himself before he moved on to the Sharks. After all those years with the Tigers. Now a drag, and as Hunt puts it in the air. Dufty again looking up into the sun, coming through. Lomax was there. Good catch by... In fact, he's knocked it on. Dufty has put it down, and it will be the Dragons who come on the attack again.
If your timing's right against a smaller fullback, you're always going to have a big chance of getting the ball back. Lomax with the chase through, right on time. Poor old Dufty loses possession. He's been a little bit off, as you said, into the sun in the first half, but it's put it down to the great chase there by Lomax. You just get the feeling a little bit more spring in the step of the Dragons.
Chance for a second try here. Move off the scrum. Ramsey, left foot step. Knocked up there by Flanagan. And also Corey Waddell. And by short side, Surley. As big as a back rower. He will finish there before his career comes to an end. We'll play it here with inside of the Bulldogs line. It's back to the inside here for DeBellin. Not much happening there. On the front line, Dufty was there with Thompson. By for Hunt. At the back, ball there off the hip. Well stopped was Tarek Sims by a trio of Bulldogs defenders. By back for Hunt. DeBellin, crash play. Good stop again. Thompson underneath in particular. Dragons go to the left. Hunt. Bulldogs were short of numbers there. Hunt realised that, tried to basketball it over the top. Came back to him by 6 more plays here for St George Illawarra. Knocked down by the Bulldogs. There's Blake Laurie digging for the line here in game number 91. Still hasn't scored in the NRL. Hunt comes back to a moan. Lomax almost got away from his shot. Burton from the inside though, got there to stop him. It's big and angular Zach Lomax and hard to wrap up as a moan. Goes back to Hunt. Woods again. Take a settler here towards the posts. The 2 plays remaining. Quick play the ball. Hunt goes out the back. Ramsey over the top. Matt Fionney on the end of the line. The Dragons have another one. Lovely hands to the left-hand side. He came off the back of a quickish play the ball in the middle of the field, and still there was a shortage of numbers on that right edge for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they just showed it. Had to show a little bit more resilience there. The double set given to the Dragons. I was just going to say he needs to learn how to pass the ball when he gets in open space. Ramsey, that's the first one over the top. That was a brilliant pass. Come and made the extra man into the back line. Look at that over the top. You know, he gets the try there for the Dragons. Just strolls around, improves his position. That's a little bit unfortunate there for the Dogs. Couldn't show that resilience to hang on to defence. And the Saints score again.
They're averaging just 16 points a game, the Dragons, so far in 2022, and here we are all but at the midpoint of the season. But a bit of possession here in the last 5 minutes or so, and they've gone back to back.
Take it right back to when Dufty dropped that ball from the bomb, put under pressure by Lomax. They got the repeat set, the 6 again. They just couldn't hang on, the Dogs.
Try confirmed by the bunker. A little look at everything happening over there with decoy runners on that left-hand side. They cleared any contact there, and off the back again of repeat sets, the Bulldogs crack. Nice work from Ramsey and company down that left-hand side. Ben Hunt in particular. Yeah,
he's a great ball player, isn't he, Hunt, at the line. I'll tell you, one of the things that the Dogs have got to do is put Aaron Woods on the ground. Just to quick play the balls. He's able to stand with 2 or 3 blokes around him, which creates that overlap. Get him on the ground, make him get off the ground to play the ball. Otherwise, it's a quick play the ball. And away they went, the Dragons.
Lomax trying to just make amends for the miss from Whiteout, admittedly, off the Moga try. It'll be first conversion attempt. 11.5 out from the break here on the Sunday ticket. First of 2 games, the Raiders and the Eels to follow. This one is a good one from Zach Lomax. Kicking into that sou'wester in this first half. It's the Dragons 10, the Bulldogs 2, Matty.
Yeah, Matthew Fionney gets the Dragons' second try. His twin, Max Fionney, very good in the New South Wales Cup game before this, as was Jaden Sullivan, playing in the half-back role. Tyrell Sloan had his moments in the full-back role in reserve grade. Plenty of Dragons will argue they should be in the 17 somewhere, but for the time being there is pressure on positions in the Dragons NRL team. That's the way that Anthony Griffin wants it. Now, we've just seen Raymond Faitala Mariner go on for Luke Thompson. Blocker, you challenged him to lift the Englishman. Well, he's had 6 carries, nearly 80 run metres, and here's a problem for the Dogs.
Don't know what's happening with Matt Burton today, but he is fruit out of season with his kicking game after he's been tremendous for most of this season. He made the move from the Panthers, taking over the 5/8 role. Just cannot get the radar right today.
Yeah, they've got to hang on now. It looked like the fatigue's starting to set in. They've had to do a lot of tackling, the Bulldogs. Just gifting the Dragons field position. They've scored on both sides of the field. They've really got to try and make some real good defensive efforts here.
Well, they keep making errors and inviting the Dragons to score, and they've grabbed 2 chances. Here's perhaps another one presenting itself immediately. It was a 2-0 lead for the Bulldogs not that long ago, and now a chance pouring onto it. Molo was there, Michael, that is. Plays it just 5 metres out. Hunt charging, reaching out and scoring. The Dragons are in again. 3 tries in double quick time. Ben Hunt realised the Bulldogs were shot to bits on their own line. He wanted it and goes at them, and the mistake off the restart by Matt Burton is an expensive one.
Yeah, and have a look at him. He's got his head down now too, Burton. That shot. Here's the kick out on the full, inviting the Dragons in the field position. Bird just put the foot out, gets the ball back, but this is terrible. Second man play, not chasing hard enough from marker, and a legs tackle close to the line like that. That is a sure sign that the Bulldogs are getting very, very tired. They've had to make a lot of tackles in the last 15 minutes. And that's embarrassing, a halfback running through your middle like that to score. And the Dragons are in again.
Solid build, isn't he, Ben Hunt? Very much an Andrew Johns style try there. Realises the chances his. The number 7, one off the ruck. Just gets a quick play the ball against a retreating defensive line that wasn't set on that right edge, and he just says, that's mine. Great halfback play there by Ben Hunt. And what was, as I mentioned before the try, a 2-0 lead to the Bulldogs. Being a big, big hole here. The Dragons, who only average 16 points a game, with this kick here from Zach Lomax, can reach that mark well before half-time.
Yeah, the 2 kicks dead in goal, and then the kick out on the full from Burton. Really costs his team. They haven't really had to fight to get off their own line, have they, the Dragons?
Lomax, no mistake from close range. Doesn't matter who the coach is for the Bulldogs. If you keep making errors with your kicking game, you're going to give up some points, and that's exactly what they've done here again, Matty Russell.
Yeah, Anthony Griffin was pre-game, said we need a better start. The beginnings from the Dragons this season have been poor. Well, guess what? This is the Dragons' best first half of the season. They scored 14 first half points against the Warriors round 1, likewise against the Roosters in round 7. It's 16-2 in their favour, and they've still got that's part of 9 minutes to add to that in the first half here.
This one could really get away from the Bulldogs, and this crowd, which was pretty raucous to begin the game, as the Dogs were really going toe-to-toe with the Dragons. They've lost that energy suddenly here, trailing 16 points to 2. Old boys' day. Terry Lamb on the microphone before the game. The crowd loving it. Warm, sunny conditions, and well, here they are now, trailing by 14. We've still got 8.5 minutes before the break.
Gee, wouldn't they love to have a bloke like Terry Lamb out there? How good was he at Belmore? Probably the best club footy player I've ever seen. He was sensational, Terry Lamb. Any chance of a break, they'd score.
Lazenby kicks towards the corner. Just go out on the full. Oh, it found the turf just inside the sideline, but only just. Things are going the way of the Dragons. They really have taken the air out of this stadium, haven't they? You could hear a pin drop suddenly. There is the great bar. Paul Langmack there as well.
Joey Thomas too.
Exactly.
Tough as nails, Joey Thomas. Langmack, a ball playing lock forward.
I dare say, a bit of a post-mortem happening there in the corner of Belmore Sports Ground as we speak, and we haven't even reached the break.
They would have been on their toes to start the game, wouldn't they? The first 15 minutes, the Bulldogs were all on top. A couple of clean breaks, led 2 points to 0. It's gone pear-shaped since then.
So Jackson, this left-hand side, Faitala Mariner. Stands out in the crowd with that throw as he plays it here just beyond the Dogs' 40. Now shot. Nowhere there. Here's a chance for a kick for Burton down the short side. He's going to run it, chip over the top for himself. He went into the back there of Moan. Came off Addo-Carr and then a Dragon.
Okay, we've got a scrum. Where would you like it?
Going to be the Dragons who end up with possession.
Gee, it looked a little bit like accidental offside to me. The Bulldogs will get the football back. There's Burton at the line, the chip over the top.
Watch it again here. Well, initially the referee had ruled that Addo-Carr got the first touch, but no doubt there on the replay that Ramsey got the ball first. Addo-Carr slid by it, and as you said, it was accidental offside. And so the Bulldogs get a chance here from just outside the 20. They need something here before the break. Just to get the crowd back into the contest. Dufty on that right edge will play it inside the Dragons 20. Raz comes back to Flanagan. Back on the inside here for Chris Patolo. Another change made by Mick Potter. Marshall King comes to Flanagan, goes out the back to Burton. Here is Shop on the angle. A good tackle though by Aaron Woods. He plays it quickly. Marshall King, Flanagan floating sideways, drags the defence though to Corey Waddell, and they're still just 10 metres out. 3 plays remaining from Flanagan. Came back on the inside there, and Patolo's gone very close. One more here. Goes back from Flanagan. Dufty through the hands. A chance for Averillo. Now they're up out of their seats. Averillo dives in. Ben Cummins points to the spots. And the Bulldogs are back at Belmore. Yeah, that's a great try there. Just on the stroke of half-time. The catch and pass over to the right-hand side. Averillo did enormously well. He's got speed off the mark. And all the passes found their mark that time, right in the middle of the posts. They go up that right-hand side. Good speed shown by Dufty. Averillo was able to get on the outside of his man in Sully. Couldn't cover enough ground there. Close that off on the inside. Averillo gets over for the Dogs. Great to see. It's going to be competitive now. Well, they finally got a result off a Matt Burton kick, albeit not the way he intended. Great scenes on the hill, aren't they? Dogs fans jubilant. The flag goes up as well. And a chance here to bring this back to just 8 points the difference. Still with just under 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Averillo now 3 tries against the Dragons and the 11th of his career.
Now, like his speed too was, he got on the outside of there. Sully just couldn't match it with him for speed. Just a slow start to get off the mark. Good ball movement there from the Doggies. We've been waiting a while for it. They finally strike.
Well, they capped the crowd at 16,000 for today's game. 11,000 short of that famous Easter Monday here back in 1993. I was here, Blocker, to see it. Bulldogs against the Eels. Multicultural day. 27,000 fans were here.
It's a big crowd, isn't it?
Unforgettable. Burton from the sideline. Bit of help left to right for the Breeze. Trying to use it, bending it back. Not enough though. Stays a 10-point game. The Dragons 16, Bulldogs 6. We've got just under 4 minutes remaining before half-time. The speed of Averillo. Marshall King looked to his left, went back to the right-hand side. Dufty in the tackle there of Mbai, just able to draw and pass. And Averillo on the outside of Moses Sully. And on the board for try scoring. See what they can do here. Just test the Dragons again just before half-time to really make a game of it. Ramsey with the restart. Awkward here for the Dogs, and those catches still looking up into the sun. Duckies had issues in the first half with it. But they'll work it away here from inside their own 20. Here's King, dumps it out the back. They go to the left-hand side immediately. Burton showing it. Taking Amon a long way with him. Amon did well though, because if Burton gets free there, he's an absolute speedster. Playing Tyler Mariner. Playing in the 5/8 role, but how good he is as a centre. Wouldn't be surprised if Burton bobs up in the centre's role for New South Wales during this coming Origin series against Queensland. They're back in Dragons territory. Jackson it is. The old war horse. Play it just outside the 30. Marshall King for Burton. Numbers to his left-hand side. Goes to the air. This one, better weighted kick. Adokar was there. It's come back to Ramsey, and play on is the call. Lucky there to get away with one. The Dragons. Fortunate ricochet. The fullback came up with it, and now they'll play it just inside their own 20 through Molo.
I reckon he'll be under plenty of pressure here. They'd spread the ball early. The Saints. And Ramsey will be under plenty of pressure into the sun in the second half.
A whistle here for the attention on Moses Surley.
No, wait there, wait there.
Got some pressure on the Bulldogs defence, and they've cracked the last 3 times they've been back inside their own half. So this is a huge set of 6 coming up. There's the tackle again. It's the hand of Carras. Boy, that's all it was. There wasn't much in that tackle.
No, there certainly wasn't, but it'll be interesting to see this set, what the Saints do, whether they throw caution to the wind with the ball and try and get on that scoreboard again.
There's Lomax up against Shop. Once again, the battle resumes. Up against the sideline. Lomax having a bit to say to the sideline official there. Play on. The Bellin straightens. Take it inside the 30. It's Woods going to the line. Hunts stomps on his run. Goes with a hand to Bird to Ramsey. Carras jamming in. Does well. He's made good decisions today on that right-hand side, Jacob Carras. Amone, he'll kick early. Chance for Moga. This one's way too big. And all the pressure off the Bulldogs. He's been fairly animated today, Anthony Griffin, hasn't he, up in the Dragons coach's box there. Matthew Head, Peter Gentle getting their ears getting a real workout from the coach today. Far from happy with what he's seen a couple of times now at this end of the field. Well, playmaker himself, Jamie Soward up there, coach of their NRL W team. So 30 seconds remaining in this first half. Played eventually here as King gets to ground, looking for a penalty, not getting one there, with Molo holding him down a long time. Waddell will bump it forward. They've been able to hit back and just stem the flow before the break. One more shot here, maybe on this left-hand side for the Bulldogs, as Taylor Mariner offloads it. Flanagan keeps it alive. Goes with the hands of Patolo. Here is Avarillo trying to straighten. The siren sounds at Belmore. And at the break, it's the Dragons who lead them. 16 points to 6 here on the Sunday tickets. First game back at this venue for him. They train here all the time, though, so should know what's doing as far as the angles and the breezes. As we are back underway, Cody Ramsey supplies the kickoff. With the Bulldogs running with the sun at their backs in their second half. We'll see if that's a factor for the back three for the Dragons. Matt Duffy had a few issues looking up into the sun in the first half. A little lower in the sky now. That may well help the Dragons. And it's Duffy here who'll play it 25 short of the halfway line. Cloudless sky. Southwestern suburbs of Sydney. Almost the inner west these days, in fact. And spread to the Sydney region. Jackson to play it just short of the 40-metre line. Metres have been hard to come by for the Bulldogs here this afternoon. Their hands, though, have been terrific. Completed 14 from 14 in the first half. Matt Burton, rather curious kick there once again, a short one, straight to the winger Tautau Moga on the full. They've lost the ball, though, the Dragons. Only the second mistake made by a team so far in the game. It's Adokar. This would really get the joint jumping if they could score here.
Yeah, after a poor set to start the second half, the Dogs, they get the football back. They scored right on the stroke of half-time. Give them a fair bit of energy. They'll come out in the second half. Let's see how good they are in the first 20 here.
It's Flanagan sliding sideways, hands it off for King, who takes it down, 10 out from the Dragons line. Most of the points scored at this end of the field in the first half. Flanagan back on the inside for Patolo. Grabbed there around the legs by Michael Molo. Marshall King waits, slow play the ball. Goes through Jackson, Flanagan. Dufty. Cut out ball. Here's a chance. Amarillo's in again. Now they're up and about. They score either side of half-time. The Bulldogs coming back to really put plenty of questions to the Dragons.
He's got some speed, hasn't he? Amarillo, as soon as he got the ball, off he went. And here's the steal here. It's Burton making up for the poor kicking game in the first half. They drop off. He gets the steal straight away. The first time the Dragons had the ball in the second half. They make him pay. The second man play, I thought it was a little bit slow here, but he accelerated onto the ball. Dufty, beautiful pass on the outside to Amarillo. Just on the stroke of half-time they score, and the start of the second half after a strip from Burton to get the ball back for the Dogs. They're in again. Now the crowd's getting back into it.
Burton makes up the poor kick, which gave great field position to the Dragons. Ben Hunt spins around there, looking at everybody, Moses Sully and company, and says, what happened there? How did it break down so badly? And the Dragons can leak plenty of points. They're 13th defensively so far in 2022, and now Burton. Well, hasn't been a great day with the boot so far, but he can really get this crowd up and out of their seats with a conversion here to bring this back to just a 4-point game. Kicking at only 52% for the season. He does have the chance to kick. He'll bend it back. It stays inside the right hand upright. Things have turned the Bulldogs' way. On a sunny Sunday afternoon back at Belmore, the Dogs launching a comeback against the Dragons. Sully was headed in field. Ben Hunt said, what was happening there? And they're off and running, Matty Russell.
Jake Amarillo, he started the season as a halfback. He looks more at home in the centres, doesn't he? His third career double. Now he chases his first career hat-trick. Mick Potter said at halftime, start really well, ideally score first after the break, invite this big crowd into the contest, and his team obliges. The kickoff sits up on its point, and it's cleared up now by Flanagan. When it came to Anthony Griffin, he was happy at halftime. He said, you handled the pressure really well, boys. You built a good lead, watch their offloads, and be content to get into a grind to close this one out.
Anthony Griffin, who's a fairly stoic type in general, has been as animated in the coach's box today as we've seen for a long time. He knows what a big game this is. The Dragons have the bye next week in round 13. A win today would get them back to 6 wins, 6 losses, and on the edge of the top 8. They're minus 83 for and against coming into today. That really does hurt them. And here are the Bulldogs back on the other side of halfway. Burton puts it in the air, looking up into the sun. An awkward one there for Cody Ramsey. Did very well. It was dipping on the breeze also. That was a good catch.
Yeah, he made it a good catch in the end, didn't he? It sort of dropped on him. Just have a look at this first set, really, that the Dragons have had. They got the ball stolen off them the first time they had it in the second half. It'll be all about completing now. They look bunched at the moment, the Saints.
Chance of this right-hand side. The ball came from Moga away to Lomax, who stays on his feet. They eventually take him to ground, 10 on his own side of halfway. 3 plays remaining in the set. There's Woods. Takes it across the halfway line in front of a packed hill. Down the short side. Bye, still working things from dummy half. Anthony Griffin told us in our pre-game show that Andrew McCulloch, returning from a thumb injury, wasn't going to start until the second half and then would play out the rest of the game more than likely. A kick here to put Perez under pressure. Coming forward, makes a good catch there. And the Dogs diffuse the trouble and they'll work it away from inside their own 20.
I like his work, Perez. Always trying to get himself involved in the game. That was a beautiful take. Just takes the pressure off, doesn't it, when your back 3 can handle the ball like the Doggies have so far. It's causing a lot of problems with their offloads too. The Saints defence just hanging off a little bit.
Now a shift. Goes from King through Flanagan. Way to Burton. Was he grabbed around the head? Yes, he was. Tackle there coming up out of the line. Talatau Moan. We're talking about the battle between Lomax and Shop. Yep. The Bulldogs fans want Talatau Moan to be sent to the sin bin. That one a bit hopeful.
He's so good, that late footwork at the line, off the left foot, just throwing out an arm. Hangs onto the headgear there to make sure he gets the penalty. He's beaten all the doggies so far in the second half. Good field position again now.
They can score in this next set. The Bulldogs, get your decibel meters ready. It'll be loud here as they tap it and go. It's King. Work it down to within 30 of the Dragons line. We'll see if they fancy their chances against Sully and also Filet on this left edge of the Dragons defensive line again. Jackson, they come that way immediately. Here's Dufty. Goes straight past Ben Hunt. Still going Dufty. Hands it off. Flanagan will score. They've erupted at Belmore. What a scene this is. 2 tries in the space of 4 minutes, and the Bulldogs have levelled it up.
Now, what a magnificent try there. Dufty just skipped on the outside of his men. And then a little bit of a right foot step. And Flanagan just supporting through the middle. We mentioned Terry Lamb a little bit earlier. That's what he did so well, just sniffed out tries with support. Back through the middle, Flanagan gets the ball. What a try to the Bulldogs. And they're all up as one. Listen to that chant.
He's been a polarising figure, as Matt Dufty, but what about this? To the outside of Ben Hunt, the speed troubled Hunt. The Fen did the rest on the inside of Moses Sully. When he came back on the inside here and beat Ramsey, it looked as though he was going to score himself. Bird couldn't get him as well, but he heard the call of Kyle Flanagan. Flanagan plunged in to score, kicked it out into the neighbourhood. There's a souvenir. And the Bulldogs, in a moment, with Burton to convert from beside the uprights, can snatch the lead.
Well, isn't that amazing? They scored just before half-time. Then 2 straight tries. There's the kick. They go up. The Doggies fans are up. What a comeback.
Blocker isn't sport magnificent, not just the venue and the crowd, but here are 2 of rugby league's more maligned characters. Matt Dufty, forced out of the Dragons, criticised at the Dogs. He makes the break, and then Kyle Flanagan, who couldn't crack the team. He's been criticised. He's been linked with other clubs. He follows his fullback, and 2 men who face plenty of criticism provide and are applauded by the massive crowd at Belmore. Great occasion. How good is sport?
It is a great occasion back at Belmore. And they started pretty promisingly, the Bulldogs, and they're 2-0 for a long time. The Dragons, with 3 tries, opened up a big lead, but that try to Averillo just before the break got the crowd back into it. It was a tonic for the Dogs going to the sheds at half-time. A spring in their step, and they have come out firing here in the second half until that moment right there. They turn it over and give it straight back to the Dragons. Oh, this will put a pin in the balloon if they score here. St George Illawarra. Amon standing in the tackle. Back in the ground here. 3 men involved there for the Bulldogs. That's him by from dummy half. He comes to Hunt, goes first man to Aaron Woods, who loves an offload. King realises that and wraps up the ball so Woods can't pop it away to Mbai, who was there and ready. Now out the back, Hunt. Tala Mariner on his own line, a good stop there. Louis Mayono going nowhere from close range. Now Amon, here's a chance. Lomax on the right-hand side. He spins in. The Dragons have hit back. It's a points fest here in the second half. The Dragons back on top.
Yeah, you can put it down to Aaron Woods, who got the steal there after we saw back-to-back tries there from the Bulldogs. And this man just hitting the ball at pace there. And Zach Lomax just spins out of a tackle. They look a little bit short there. Again, Adokar sprints off the line. They looked like they were done for numbers. You've got to slide over and put the pressure on. He come up with thin air again. Lomax spins out and scores.
He's been very good for New South Wales. Josh Adokar, of course, in recent seasons, but a couple of defensive lapses today, directly for 2 tries to the Dragons. 1 to Moga, this one to Lomax, who didn't need his new winger on the outside. He comes up there with fresh air again, Josh Adokar, and Not the defensive display from him with the New South Wales team to be picked tonight. Last impressions may not be the ones he was hoping for before they picked that team for the Blues here this evening. Just came up, didn't go to anybody, was just thinking intercept, and it was just an easy passage to the line there for Zach Lomax. Looking into the setting sun. His first of two games on the Sunday ticket. Don't forget the Raiders and the Eels beyond this one. That will be a beauty.
Oh, yeah, good. They're playing pretty well too, the Raiders at the moment. At home. Toss of a coin, that one.
$20 points to 18. Let's take his time, Zach Lomax, hearing it. The Box fans on the hill. Strike, trying to slide back. It does bend enough. So they're back in front by 4. St George Illawarra 22, the Bulldogs 18. Watch it again as Mbai jumps out of dummy half, and there is Addo-Carr just coming out, leaving Aaron Shot posted with 2 to handle. And Lomax says, I've got it from here, and spins his way in. And you saw the reaction there of Jeremy Marshall-King, who said, Josh, again, what are you doing?
You've got to be a little bit better, more resilient on your goal line when you're defending. Tries from the Saints 10 metres out have been too easy this afternoon.
There's a nervous wing out defensively this afternoon. Is the Fox. See if he can turn things around and perhaps help them out. The ball in hand. Has to work out what he's doing, jamming in or staying. He's 0 for 2 so far. Here's the Dragons to work it away through Moses and by Aaron Woods. It was part of that tackle that forced the mistake from the Bulldogs. The only error of the game, and cost them points. And by from on top of the 40-metre line, tracking across here. It will just go into touch, or will it? No. Carraz got back there and tapped it back on the inside to Duffy just in time. Pretty sure Mbai had a foot on top of the 40-metre line, so it wasn't going to be a 40-20 anyway, but they were taking no chances, and perhaps a good thing for the Bulldogs.
Thought he might have got a little bit of a clip on the way down. He's still in back play, hanging onto a rib there, Dufty. You need him to stay out there.
Here is Waddell. And the referee saying to Josh Addo-Carr, got to play it with your foot. Dufty back on his feet, out the back. Now a shift. Burton. Oh, flick pass. That was audacious. Just outside their own 20. They'll keep it alive. Marshall King looking to link up with Addo-Carr, who was pushing through the middle of the field. They'll play it 5 short of the halfway line. They went via the cape, but they got themselves out of trouble. Burton. Little helicopter spin on that one again. Cody Ramsey, an inch off the turf, makes a catch. And the Dragons have it at their own 30.
I just think they've got to aim a little bit deeper with their kicking game. Bombing from 50 metres out. I don't think that's the go. Kick to the corners. And there's a mistake. Dogs will be happy about that.
Yeah, we did have a look at it.
Well, they've been clinical and capitalising on Dragons' mistakes in this second half. Watch it again as Moga plants the ball on the ground there. Oh, there's the first error. You can't do that. He plays it eventually. If you're on, you've got to be back on your feet, and this gets overlooked a lot in the current game, but you've got to be on your feet before you plant the ball on the ground.
Just I can't really pick up who it is. One of the Bulldogs players right back at the back end of the field got hit after he passed the ball. Just going through the HIA at the moment to see if he stays on the field. What do we see it is? Is it Thompson?
No, Max King.
Max King it is. Got hit just as he passed the ball. A little bit late, I thought, but anyway.
Seems to be some confusion here. It is going to be a head injury assessment for Max King. So Mick Potter and David Fern are riding alongside him. Plenty of experience there in the Bulldogs coach's box in the era beyond Trent Barrett. Waiting to see what's going on. Not sure that the coach himself knows.
He's staying on.
What is happening here with Max King? He's going to stay on. As though for a moment they were saying he's no good and tapping the head, saying it's going to be an HIA. Instead, somehow, some way, he stays on the field.
not for long, was he's coming off. They've just given the message to Stevie to get out there and tell him to come off.
Well, that is all curious. Don't know how he was allowed to go and pack into the scrum if he was coming from the field. Of course, you can't make a replacement at the scrum, but in that situation, surely common sense would prevail. Here's Addo Carr. He'll play it 30 metres out from the Dragons line as Marshall King waits. Comes to Flanagan. Jackson showing it to Corey Waddell. Up there in numbers to meet him. Good aggressive defence on the Dragons. Woods was there again with Francis Molo. Now Marshall King out of dummy half. He had them slipping and sliding inside their own 20. Jackson wants a quick play the ball. He goes to Flanagan at the line. A chance here, hitting and spinning. They'll play it a metre short. Tolo was there. Now for Jackson. Flanagan gets away from Moses and by. Was he cuffed across the chops? No, he wasn't. Yes, he was. That was a curious one from the referee, who was right there on the spot. There seemed to be maybe a chat between himself and the touch judges to decide the contact here, or maybe the bunker advising the referee, saying, hey, there was some high contact you've missed right there.
Yeah, Mason Boy just throws out the arm there. A little bit of gamesmanship. Got straight back to his feet anyway. Goal Flanagan. Starting to be a little bit dangerous. Marshall King out of dummy half. Just needs some support when he takes off. Left him stranded there that time after that break.
Here is Jackson. Flanagan, the ball goes to ground. Play on. Burton kicks. Addo Carr was there. Ramsey, though, sensed the trouble. He'll be taken into touch. They'll get out of jail here, the Bulldogs.
What about the strength there of Shop? Just to throw him into touch there. Reminded me a bit of Gordon Tallis in the State of Origin. Just grabs him by the jumper. A little kick in the grubber in behind. Ramsey cleans it up. Look at this. Throws him in the row 27. Good strength.
All in one motion. Do you reckon they didn't enjoy that again? This packed hill in front of the Peter Moore scoreboard at Belmore. The Dogs from the uprights. Work it here through Flanagan and Waddell. They take it inside the Dragons 10. Trailing by 4. They came with a rush of tries to take the lead. Flanagan by Taylor Marin, a good tackle. Talatau Moan takes him down 5 metres out, one-on-one. Burton from dummy half. With a stutter step, gets a set restart as well. Dragons here give away 6 more plays and they are set deep the right-hand side. Flanagan showing it. Here comes to Dufty again. Why wouldn't you? Avarillo, Sully this time, able to stay with him with the help of Ben Hunt. They wrap him up pretty comfortably. From Thompson, goes to Jackson. Flanagan standing, taking the ground there. Moan jamming in. Might be a chance on the left-hand side for the Bulldogs. They come back the other way. It's Dufty, gives it off to Waddell. Sully and Hunt thinking about trying to drag him into touch. And they do. He wasn't held. They took a chance coming to this short side, and they got plenty of numbers there, the Dragons, to get themselves out of a big, big hole here.
Yeah, they did well to hold him up. Waddell it was. Held him up, Sully. Bird comes in to make the extra man there with the tackle. Momentum kept going, so that's a fair call.
Talk about precision from coach Anthony Griffin. He told us pre-game that Andrew McCulloch will probably play the last 23 minutes of the game. Sure enough, with 23 to play, Andrew McCulloch about to return from that broken thumb. And this crowd, how good. What a belter in the return to back to Belmore game. 16,991, gents. What a turnout.
In excess of what they were expecting as far as the limitations on the crowd size here today. That is tremendous to see. A lot of love for the Bulldogs, especially at their spiritual heartland.
I'll tell you what's going to be interesting for me, Andrew McCulloch's service out of dummy half after a broken thumb. We'll see how slick his service is from that position.
There he is from dummy half, working up with Aaron Woods, who takes it down to just outside the Bulldogs 40. McCulloch looking to the short side. Goes that way as Hunt angles a kick back. An awkward one here for Flanagan. Trouble for the Bulldogs. Ends up in the arms there of Jack Bird, who tried to kick it. Couldn't manage to do so. Here's Carraz. He links up with the Fox. gets out of one tackle, gets to the outside of Moga, straightens, eventually stopped there by Talatau Amone, who has stripped it and come up with possession for the Dragons.
Gee, I was hoping the Fox see the urgency of the defence there of the Dragons. Once the Fox got in a little bit of clear space, gets the ball stolen off him. The Dragons on the attack again.
Massive play. Talatau Amone, possession back for the Dragons. After Adokar threatened to step his way into open space. Fumeono at the 20. He'll stay on his feet here and supply play the ball for McCulloch. Hunt at first receiver. Bypasses the decoy. Amone stopped there by Faitala Mara, defending on that left-hand side for King. It's Hunt. The kick towards the corner. Pressure here on Carraz. Coming forward, left the ground from the in-goal area. He is sure-handed. Terrific catch. Dragon stopping from getting back to his feet quickly and playing it at the 20. Now they get a chance as Avarillo gets back to the hash mark. And they begin here at their own 30. So they survive off the back of the strip from Talatau Amone. He was a long way in the air. He's got some ups as Jacob Carraz.
Well, doesn't he attack the ball too? Gee, I've been impressed with him, the Savo. Only seen him play a couple of times. With plenty of energy. Big, tall winger. Great take.
Thompson bouncing off the shoulder of Molo. Francis, that is. As Flanagan goes to the line. Short one there for Jackson. Oh, a shot in the ribs there from Tarek Sims. Flanagan again. Going to show Dufty. Not much happening for him, though. Want to see him as the sweep option as opposed to being up there in the front line, hanging out the back, wrapping around one of the pivots. Here's Flanagan. Comes to Burton, defends away from Lomax. Burton comes to Avarillo, fires a no-look pass put down by Carraz.
Well, it just needed the bounce of the ball there. Carraz would have been in. What about that for an explosive run there from Burton? Haven't seen it much in this game so far. Yep. He's down on his back at the moment. Might have been hit a little bit late after he offloaded.
Mate, the Bulldogs are challenging a knock-on. I think they're looking at obstruction in the lead-up. I'm not really sure.
Jeez, the player, isn't he, Burton?
But in the lead-up, I haven't seen it. Touch it. But I've ruled knock-on.
Under the guise of a knock-on here, the Bulldogs are challenging perhaps that collision there between Bird and Burton.
Just looking to determine who knocks the ball on.
Well, they're hoping that Fionney got a hand on this as it went out towards Carraz. As you heard Ben come and say, he said, I don't really know what they're challenging. But I guess these days we can just look at everything. I don't think Fionney gets a touch.
At this point, we have a knock-on off Jacob Carraz. We're just looking to determine if Matt Fionney touches it prior to that.
I don't think he gets it. I think he goes for it but doesn't touch it.
I don't think we'll see anything that will prove that he touched it, unless there's a fingertip here flexing.
There's no knock-on from St George Illawarra.
He's missed it.
We have a knock-on off Canterbury-Bankstown. The challenge is unsuccessful.
It would have been interesting if the ball had bounced up nicely.
Josh, unsuccessful. You've got no challenges remaining, mate.
A couple of dodgy challenges today from either team. One very early on, the opening minutes from the Dragons. One of the worst ones we've seen so far this season. That wasn't a whole lot better, it has to be said, from the Bulldogs. I know they're trailing. It's still 19 minutes remaining, and they just blew a chance to score potentially, but rather keep it up your sleeve in case there's a howler to come in the closing minutes, which really could prove to be the difference. And the Dragons work it away. Hollow to up towards the 30. Brother Michael back on the bench for the moment. There's Hunt. Goes to Amone, sliding sideways. Ramsey, that was deft footwork to get past Matt Burton. He was there and then he was gone. Luckily for him, had some help on the outside there from Shop and Faitala Mariner. 22 plays 18. The visitors on top at the moment on the Sunday ticket. It's Hunt looking to his left-hand side. Ramsey was there again. Hunt comes back to the middle though. They've got one more play here from 40 out. Goes back to Amon, who puts it in the air. Lomax is the chaser. Up against Dufty. Doesn't get close to it, Dufty, then knocks the ball on. 6 more plays here for the Dragons. Fullback to the odds to it there and gives it straight back for a full set to St George Illawarra. That was a curious play indeed from Dufty after Lomax came up with the catch, and now Woods punching it in towards the uprights. They've been great defending their line inside the 20 here today, and McCulloch just like that makes them pay again. First game back from injury, Andrew McCulloch, who arrived right on cue with 23 minutes remaining, jumps out of dummy half and makes the Bulldogs pay for a Dufty error. I
think it was Aaron Woods that played the ball quickly again. I said in the first half, you've got to put him on his backside and make him get up to play the ball. If he's able to stand there with 2 or 3 blokes around him and just play the ball, they've got to be short somewhere. Here's the bomb that goes up. They get the football back. You've got to at least challenge for the footy when it goes up like that. Lomax, they get the 6 again. Just watch. I think it is Aaron Woods that's standing in the tackle. Look at that. Quick play the ball. Gone. You've got to put him on the ground. He's got tremendous strength to be able to stand in tackles, but it's got to be one of the main things. Put him on his back. Straight up. You look straight up in front of you and you see Dufty there. You go, well, you start licking the lips. I think I can run over the top of him here, and that's exactly what happened.
He saw Jackson at marker go to the left-hand side. He just came back the other way. And the A defender wasn't able to close that door in time for McCulloch. Slide across and make it an 8-point lead once again with a kick to come here. The Dragons back out to a 10-point margin. And they've gone a little bit quiet, the crowd here at Belmore, as you would expect off the back of that. 16 remaining, still plenty of time for them. They came with a rush of points. It was electric here. The tries they scored through Avarillo either side of half-time, and then Flanagan to make it 18-16. The Dragons have scored 2 since then through Lomax and McCulloch. And Lomax converts the last of those to make this 28 points to 18, Matty Russell.
Yeah, still plenty of time for Canterbury to come back into this one, but that man, Anthony Griffin, hopes his team goes on to win and hit the halfway mark of the season, 6-6, with some depth and some excitement in the lower grades. He'll hope for a big back end to 2022. There's a bye next weekend for the Dragons, then a trip to play North Queensland in Townsville, followed by South Sydney, Canberra and Brisbane. So the Dragons positioning themselves nicely in the back half of the season, so long as they go on with the job here.
If they can get to that midpoint, as you say, Matt, 6-6. If they repeat that effort in the second half of the season, 12 wins, 12 losses, usually sneak you a place in the bottom of the top 8, 7th or 8th, thereabouts. But they'll have visions of doing better than that in the second half of the season. It won't be easy off the back of the bye, taking on the Cowboys up there in Townsville. They've been very impressive, quite obviously, so far in 2022. And it's de Belin. Bring it back here towards the halfway line. Bulldogs fans hopeful but quiet at the moment. McCulloch for Hunt, who puts it up, another midfield bomb. Down there on that right wing, Moga. Bounce comes back to him, tapped again by Tarek Sims. Goes into touch, and the Bulldogs will get possession here, and they'll start midfield, 15 short of the halfway line.
You reckon the message will be going out from Mick Potter? Challenge for the footy, former fullback himself. Just to allow it and just watching the ball bounce and giving the Saints an opportunity to grab possession. They've done it 3 occasions in the second half so far.
Marshall King still working things from dummy half. Zach Docker-Clay on the bench again today for the Bulldogs. And he's out there now, getting a cameo out the back end of the game, hoping to spark something. Diminutive number 14 comes to him now. They come up very quickly on him. At the back of making his debut just last week. It's Flanagan down this right-hand side. Waddell, well stopped there by Hunt. Cullick also helping out the old Broncos firm, combining there. Here is Dr. Clay. Burton, grub ring. Addo-Carr looking for a bounce. Gets one. Gives it back to Warren Shop. Put your earmuffs on again. They've got up here at Belmore. What a sight it is. They're not done with yet, the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that time he gets his kicking game right, Burton. The little grubber kick for the Fox. What about the bounce and the skill to catch and pass back on the inside? Shop gets a try. As you said, they're not done with yet. Here's the grubber kick, the rush defence there from the Saints. The kick in behind. Look at that for a brilliant pass from a winger. Addo-Carr with great skill. Shop gets a try. Here we go, it's game on again.
Now, the points have been coming in bursts. Either way, it was the Dragons who went out to that big lead in the first half. Then the Bulldogs put on 3 tries in a row. Dragons 2 straight. Dogs hit back here through Shop, and for all his troubles today with his kicking game, Matt Burton, a couple of judicious ones in the second half along the ground on that left-hand side. 28 plays 22, a kick to come from right in front from the man in question himself. They haven't had much to cheer about over many seasons now, the Bulldogs fans. Coming back here today, they are determined to get their money's worth, and they are. Asking plenty of questions here of the Dragons, and so much time still on the clock. Good threading of the needle there on Addo-Carr, who showed some poise and some patience to wait for the right bounce.
No, you're right, there was a wonderful skill. They get that ball back on the inside the Shop. As you said, the Bulldogs have been able to score back-to-back tries the whole afternoon. Well, let's hope they can do it again.
Unless you're a Dragons fan, of course.
Exactly.
Of course, we are up next with the Raiders and the Eels. Big game for Parramatta. The Bulldogs working it away from their own end, appealing for a penalty there. They won't get one from Ben Cummins. Luke Thompson tucks it under his arm and just charges at them. Started with plenty of feeling. This one, it might end the same way. We've still got 12 and a half minutes here. Cracking afternoon. Plenty of tries for the fans here. As we said before the game, it's the kind of day that makes you a footy fan forever. The young kids here maybe watching the Bulldogs and the Dragons go around for the first time live, and it leaves an indelible memory. Comes back to Burton. Puts it in the air. Looking up into the sun. Pressure here on Ramsey. He's been very good in the second half. Much more comfortable under those ones than Dufty was. It was a bit more awkward for the Bulldogs in the first half, admittedly. The sun a bit higher in the sky as Sully brings it back here. And the Dragons looking just to steady the ship for the moment. Get through a set. Keep turning it over at the right end of the field. Because when they've made mistakes in this second half, the Dogs have been good enough, despite their limited attack so far in 2022, to put some points on the board. Averaging only 11 points in attack so far this season, the Dogs. Well, they've doubled that and then some here today. Hunt on this left-hand side. Bird does well. Equally well does Carraz to shut down Sully. Big tackle there. The Dragons are off and running. Here's Hunt, short side. Nothing doing here. He takes it to a corner. Maybe that was the plan all the time. Didn't want to risk putting a kick in, giving them 7 tackles from their own 20. Now Cameron gets bowled over in all the excitement as well. Everyone's close to the action here at Belmore today as Hunt took it to the sideline. He came across and wrapped him up pretty comfortably. Joe Stimson out there.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty smart play there by Hunt to go up the short side. Carraz was caught in at marker in field. So they just reloaded and went down that short side. It gets bundled into touch. Good defence there from the Dogs.
was as a bit of fun. I was just speaking with one of the NRL officials sideline. They came here with 10 footballs today. They're down to 6. There's 1 on the train line and 3 lost to the southern end. If kids, you're walking around Belmore, you'll find some footies on Waverley Street, southern end, Belmore Sports Ground.
And if you're game enough, there's one on top of Desi Hasler's wrestling shed at the northeastern corner of Belmore Sports Ground here. Built back in 2013 when Des had an open checkbook. He said, I want a wrestling shed. He got one. Here is Thompson. He'll play it 35 metres out from the Dragons line. Burton looking with Addo-Carr. Back through the middle. They're here again. The pass goes to ground. It might have been forward anyway. Hunt ends up with it. Addo-Carr warming to the task here in this run to the full-time hooter. Coming midfield, combining with Burton, and they are causing issues for the Dragons.
Yeah, it just shows what it means to these players out there. If they're near enough and close enough, they want to finish with a flurry. And their 2 most important players in Burton and Addo-Carr trying to light this crowd up.
They go inside the final 10. Dragons back with insight of the halfway line. Ramsey will go to Hunt. Look out for most of the kicking today. Addo-Carr coming forward. Oh my goodness. How did he take that without knocking it on? Been an adventure for the back 3 of the Bulldogs today. And now here's a mistake ripped away from Dufty. And illegally, says the referee. Dufty's heart must have been in his mouth again.
Yeah, 2 in the tackle, just trying to strip at the ball. The doggies. I reckon Burton will go for a little bit of distance here. That's a great kick for touch, that one. Look at that.
Well, they find their voice, as you'd expect. The Bulldogs, 35 metres out. They're sucking in some big ones out there. Josh Addo-Carr for the moment. Hit heavily for his trouble after making that catch and flipping it up to Dufty. Up goes the chant at Belmore. It's Thompson, the Englishman, winding up. The sun on their backs. Oh, he's made a mistake here in the collision and given it back to the Dragons.
Yes, McCulloch involved in the tackle too. He's the man that scored the try from dummy half up the other end of the field. This time it's some good defence on Thompson. Takes the wind out of the sails there for the Dogs.
Make sure they get in here. Bulldogs, make sure they're in. Hold your weight, Bulldogs.
Hard to see there, but the referee good bead on it. The ball came free just in the tackle there of McCulloch and also Bird. Now they were building, as was the noise. As McCulloch from the back of the scrum. Hands it off to Lomax. And the try scorers for the Dragons here today. We'll play it just outside the 30. Moog Sims, the inside ball. They still want to chant all the way to full time here. What an atmosphere it's been. DeBellin. The inside for Blake Laurie, back on deck. Looking for a quick play, the ball. Now Hunt showing it a couple of times. Comes away to Fionney, up against Carraz near the sideline. He did well, Fionney, to stay away from the chalk. He'll play it there for Ramsey. Hunt comes back to the middle. Amone. Not much happening on his outside. Now he finds some space though. Runs past Burton. Still going. Rubbering. Jackson is chasing. Leads the rush. It looks like Dufty took the ball out of play before it had hit the turf. And it will be Dragons' possession from 10 metres out.
Yeah, I think the ball come off Josh Jackson too at the start. He tried to knock the ball back. Look at that for a little bit of footwork. Love seeing him run the ball there, Amone. Good skills to kick the ball in behind. Dufty there on the spot.
Desperate work by Josh Jackson, making sure it didn't bounce up for a Dragons chaser. Here they are, DeBellin. Gives it off to Laurie. Trying to extend this 4-point lead. Just over 5 remaining. Luke Thompson grabs a leg and makes sure he hits the deck there. How's Blake Laurie? Could play the ball again here from Moses Sully this time. McCulloch goes to Amone. How dangerous was he on that previous carry? Just opened up the Bulldogs, tracking across the field. This time though, crash ball from close range, nothing doing. They go again, same play, the Dragons are in! Through the forwards, Blake Laurie scores the first try of his NRL career.
And I reckon all his teammates know it too. Blake Laurie, as you said, they double up on the crash ball. Laurie, a wholehearted player, gets his first try of his career. I remember this one for a long time. It was only about 5 metres out, but it'll go to 50. Look at that, lines himself up, tries to get a one-on-one. That's been the bugbear here of the doggies all afternoon. Their on-goal defence has been horrible. Laurie gets his first try ever.
Can't tell you how many games I've called where Blake Laurie has gone close, only to be denied, but this time a great catch, a hit and spin, and 91 NRL games in the making. It was worth the wait.
Yeah, certainly was. And look at that, how much he means to the teammates. They all smother him. Look at that. What a great try. Well done. Always remember your first one.
Well, they've just stemmed the flow. Bulldogs comeback, perhaps finished with that mistake by Thompson. They were building off the back of a penalty, and he put it down at the end of the first play. And instead, the Dragons have dominated field position from that point on, and now with 4 minutes remaining, the lead out to Waits. The exit of many of the Dogs and Dragons fans here today in this big crowd of 17,000, beyond what was the supposed capacity this afternoon. Now they've been filing for the exit gates. As Lomax from beside the uprights. What a way to seal the win here today. Game number 91. Lomax. Into the setting sun. No problem there. It's back to a 10-point lead at 34 points to 24. Man, it's been quite a ride today.
Absolutely. Great to see the teammates erupt as Laurie goes over for try number 1. They call him blocker. We have a blocker. Steve Roach, 12 tries in your 185 first grade games. At this rate, the second blocker is not going to get anywhere near you.
I hope not anyway. I want bragging rights. Good on him for scoring his first one.
And the blocker fraternity still well on top, Stephen, but it's quite the moment for Blake Laurie. Now the Bulldogs go short. They come up with possession. What a catch by Carraz. Maybe they're not done with yet. 3 minutes and 30 remaining. A try here in this set. It's game back on. Incredibly. Flanagan. He comes out to the left-hand side. Jackson driven sideways here in a strong tackle by Tarek Sims. It's a simple equation. They just have to score right here. Out of dummy half. Shot goes a long way. Takes it inside the Dragons 10. Marshall King. Flanagan wants it. He duly gets it. Docker Clay runs towards McCulloch. Set restart siren went off. Didn't notice a signal from the referee, but we'll trust them. It was all okay. Here is Thompson. Woods grabbed him. Good step on Blake Laurie. Great defence by Aaron Woods, who's been very good defensively here today. Big game from the veteran. Flanagan, they came up quickly. Hunt stopped him going to the right-hand side, and he gets drilled to the turf by Jack DeBellin. Marshall King. Here is Dufty, rubbering, chasing. Fine at this late stage, happy to take it beyond the dead ball line.
Yeah, had to play at it, turn around and chase Fine. We've had a little bit of luck with the little grubbers in and behind, haven't they, this afternoon, the Dogs, especially in the second half.
I've got a penalty. We're going to just check whether there's a possible penalty try there, mate.
Penalty try, there was no way that he was going to get there first, whoever was chasing.
Possible penalty try. Let's take a look at this again. On this left-hand side, Dufty going to the line.
Right-side kick chase is onside.
What's a kick in?
Jack Bird then illegally grabs Matt Dufty. Due to the proximity of the other Dragons players and the length of the kick, we have no penalty try, but we have a penalty to Canterbury.
And surely,
sin bin.
Professional foul and a sin bin.
Yeah, penalty.
Gee, what, wouldn't that make a difference? They had a man down. 2.5 minutes to go.
So from on top of the Dragons line, there should be 13 on 12.
Wait there, mate.
It
Wait
is.
there. Wait, no, no.
And we're going to
wait.
remain 13 on 13. I don't know what's happened as far as professional fouls being automatic sin bins in the NRL in the last 2 to 3 rounds, but something's happened in the interpretation, because that should have been an automatic sin bin for your life as Marshall King goes to the left-hand side. Flanagan, Burton, short ball. Good defence by the Dragons on that right-hand side of the field. Shot wrapped up pretty comfortably there. Comes back to Docker Clay. Just on 2 minutes remaining here at Belmore on a classic Sunday afternoon. And the Dogs trying to give it one more yelp. Flanagan stopped there again. By coming out of the line. Tackles being burnt here. 2 more for Canterbury. Dufty again. Cut out ball. Well, wheeled in by Carraz. Will they take him into touch? He somehow stays in. There was some strength there from the rookie winger. Comes back for Dufty. Here's Marshall King. Flanagan double pumps it. Burton rubbers again. Adokara's there. Getting back though, cleaning up. Tautau Moga on debut.
He's on the goal line.
Make sure that will do it today.
Goal line, drop out.
He forced the ball in the in-goal area, but they've done enough to get the points, the Dragons.
Well, they forced the line drop out again here. I think the time will run out now for the Bulldogs. Little grubber kick in and behind by Burton again for Adokar.
Cody Ramsey looks like he's done more than enough today to be the full-time fullback for some time to come for the Dragons. Made some very good catches in difficult situations in this second half. Certainly added a lot in attack as well. And while they bounce from Tyrell Sloan to Moses Mbai, it looks like Ramsey, who was on the outside looking in after bursting onto the scene for the Dragons, has found a full-time spot in the #1 jersey. Here's an offload and put down by Marshall King. Well, they tried today and they've scored plenty of points relatively for the Bulldogs, the most they've scored so far this season. But 24 wasn't enough when they've leaked 34 against the Dragons.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any rush there to form the scrum. The Dragons. Mick Potter's up, ready to go down in the dressing rooms and address his team.
Don't forget, we're not too far away. Taking you to Canberra. The Raiders up against the Eels. Second game on the Sunday ticket. Final game of round 12 will be at the midpoint of the season. Completion of the contest between those two. And the siren sounds here. And it's been a fabulous occasion in front of the big crowd as big-time rugby league returned to Belmore. But Blake Laurie and the Dragons have stood tall today. They've got the points at full time. The Dragons have beaten the Bulldogs 34 points to 24.